So we get off stage and we immediately, Sam and Josh are barefoot. We immediately wash our feet and kind of cleanse, and then we have showers backstage. So we don't really have to coach each other, which is wonderful because gosh, it could be a whole other story. But I think things are pretty all right.
Hey everyone, I'm Katie Darrell, and today we are at home and social with Danny Wagner of Greta Van Fleet, one of my favorite new bands. How are you, dude?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am really good. Thank you for
I
asking.
can tell you're
I,
glowing.
I know I use the word new, and it's just new because you're fresh, right? Like hot on the scene, sophomore album. Finding your music was such a breath of fresh air. Do you seek out new music, or are you too busy to even look for it right now?
Oh, we love looking for new music. Thankfully, like modern day technology has made that very easy for everyone. So, having streaming platforms, we're definitely avid music listeners.
I'm really excited because you guys are you're just kicking off another leg of your tour. Your last tour sold out. I like the ring of that. How did that feel?
Really wonderful. We have the best fans, and it felt really cool to just kind of get back out there. It'd been so long that we weren't really quite sure what it was going to be like, and it was just such a wonderful feeling to have that connection again.
Did you feel, I mean, was there a moment where you kind of had to, dust it off and get back into the vibe and kind of get your stage presence? Because let's be honest, Greta Van Fleet definitely has a stage presence.
Oh, well, yes, absolutely. Our first show back in August of 21 was that dusting off, and it had been 2 years. That's the longest we'd ever gone without playing, so we were more nervous than ever. But after a song into the set, it was like riding a bike.
Are there kind of split personalities of the guys of Greta Van Fleet? Like when you are doing rehearsals, are there a couple days where you don't turn it on and then you're like, okay, guys, tomorrow we're like really having to push forward and do it? Or, is that charisma always there?
I would say the charisma is always there. Our rehearsals and practices are a hoot. They're a lot of fun, and we're a jam band, so we just have fun with it all the time. It's never work. It's always pleasure.
Your style's fantastic as well. People would say it's reminiscent of very 70s classic rock. Have you always had that style? I mean, if we went back and we looked at little 15-year-old Danny, what was little 15-year-old Danny wearing?
It wasn't too far off. The hair was a little bit shorter,
Yeah.
but clothing wise, we just kind of tried to keep it cheap. We would go to Goodwills and thrift stores, and it happened to be flashy clothing, and we liked expressing ourselves and not staying so reserved as far as dressing and not fitting into a mold. So I think it just kind of came from self-expression.
When you're out on tour, do you try and hit up the thrift stores?
Oh, absolutely. If my suitcase allows it, because we're pretty packed full.
What city seems to have the best collection of thrift stores?
Ooh, honestly, it's really cool. I love Camden and London as far as like the European scene goes, or the UK scene, but also out west, Oregon and like Portland is wonderful. Anywhere in California is great.
The tour is in motion right now, but in addition to everyone getting to see you in the arenas and at these great venues, it's festival season, my friend, and you are going to be at Bourbon and Beyond. That's September 15th through 18th. So many great bands on this. Do you love a good festival because it's a networking type thing?
I love a good festival. I think the energy is just incredible. And like you said, the lineups are kind of all of it too. To share the stage with like Pearl Jam and, all those legendary artists, it's so cool.
Are you able to go up and like be like, hey, Eddie Vedder, I'm Danny Wagner, of Greta Van Fleet? Kind of, did you get to have those Wayne's World moments where you're like,
I'm
hey,
I'm the shy one of the band, so I'm not really the extrovert naturally going up and saying hello. But if they come say hello, that's cool.
So we were talking about the Bourbon and Beyond Festival. This is great. The lineup is fantastic. I mean, besides Pearl Jam, they're Jack White, Alanis Morissette, Brandy Carlisle. Are these all a bunch of acts that this will be your first time actually getting to see them in person live, or have you seen them, perform before?
Oh, absolutely. I think all except for Brandy Carlisle, we have seen her before. But yeah, no, it's going to be special, and it's just ever growing. So cool.
Do you drink bourbon?
I do drink bourbon. I am more of a bourbon over a whiskey person. Not that there is much of a difference, but bourbon before bed is a good thing on tour.
Okay, all right. I'm more of a whiskey gal, so I'm like whiskey makes you
Okay.
frisky.
Yeah,
So,
no, there's nothing wrong with whiskey. It's just not my cup of tea.
but the fans at these festivals are really cool because I mean they've shelled out a good amount of money because it's a 3-4 day weekend, so it's not cheap. What are the fans like at festivals versus when they're at one of your arena tours?
I think it's different in the sense that, for the arena tours, everyone is there for a specific reason, and that is, the one or a few couple artists they bought the tickets for. But at festivals, they're really there to just have the time of their lives. It doesn't matter, and kind of just free float and just have fun. So the energy is super high at festivals, and not to mention that the crowds tend to be a little bit larger, which is really cool. And they all feed off of each other, and
Yeah.
it certainly makes our job a little bit easier on stage, looking out and seeing that sea of people. So it's really special.
Can we talk about Metallica?
Oh yeah, we can talk about Metallica.
Dude, I
Yeah.
mean, okay. So when you guys got the call that said, hey, you are going to get paired and play a couple of shows with Metallica, was that, I imagine there are a couple handful of moments that really stand out. And please tell
Oh,
me
that was
that one
one.
was one of them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Metallica is a big part of our lives. Like growing up, they are the biggest rock band in the world. That is, and that's a statement I'm more than willing to make. But when we got that call, there really weren't a whole lot of words. We kind of just looked at each other and went, "Really, us?" And we were honored. And they're such nice guys. They really are. They welcomed us in. They're an excellent role model for being that headline artist, bringing on a younger group. They really just were so humble and treated us so well, and our crew so well, and everything was just smooth sailing.
Other highlights of your career thus far, which is so fun to say that this is a career, right? Like you're doing it. Congratulations.
I
You did
guess
it.
it's professional, right?
You get a paycheck, maybe, hopefully, sometimes. Talk
Sometimes.
to management about that.
Yeah.
But so other great moments for Greta Van Fleet, obviously getting nominated for multiple Grammys and then winning. Let's talk about also a bunch of TV performances, whether it be Jimmy Kimmel or SNL. Walk me through some of these as these come through management via email, text, phone. I don't even know how you communicate these days. Airplane writing in the sky. Um, do you take the moments to absorb how cool they are and each one is just as exciting? Or are you kind of like, oh yeah, guys, we're number one again. And oh yeah, we're going on SNL.
Well, I guess if I paint a little bit of a picture, so most of those things all happened within like a year, which was the most chaotic year so far of everything. But it was beautiful chaos. It was wonderful. But we were so busy that we didn't really have a whole lot of time to process things. And it wasn't like, we were shoving it off going, oh yeah, there's another one of these. We were taking it in, but we just couldn't believe it. You just showed up and did it. And as they all just happened right one after another, which was really quite special. SNL was amazing. That was a dream of ours. We've all been watching SNL our entire lives, and to have some of the cool casts there. Alec Baldwin was there, and yeah, our heroes. It was super fun. The TV shows are fun. Even getting the opportunity to do it during the pandemic was kind of wild too. But yeah, no, just absolutely nuts. And now that we've had the pandemic, we've had the time to process it and kind of look back and went, wow, that happened.
Right. I mean, to get hit right before like everything got locked down, having that first album out was probably so important to your career, right?
Oh yeah, no, we were very fortunate to have had, an established sort of foundation before that happened.
For those of you just joining us, I'm Katie Darrell. He's Danny Wagner of the band Greta Van Fleet. Do you Google yourself?
Not really. What I do Google though are our show dates. I do that all the time. I have people asking me if we're going to be in such and such area, and I'm just kind of like secretly Google because I know it's an easy way to find our tour dates. But I've never actually really Googled myself. Maybe once or twice to see if they have my height right or my eye color right, or where's my weight at? What's my net worth? I don't know.
Yeah, do I need to diet? Do I look fat in this video? Let's talk about videos. The videos are great. Again, the vibe and everything that you're laying out there, it's very on point. It's very on brand, as they would say. Do you feel comfortable shooting music videos, or is it awkward? Are you self-conscious at all?
No, we love it. It's fun. Film has always been a big part of our lives. Whether it's, and that's one way to incorporate film into music, because Josh and Jake and Sam all grew up watching. Josh specifically went to college for a couple of years for film, so we're all like pretty natural with the whole idea, and loved, to address something like that and be creative and take our own liberties with it. So we have a lot of fun with it, and then designing the clothing and even playing over a track in or dead silence. And there's never an awkward low point.
Do you ever get outvoted because the other band members are brothers?
All the time.
Oh.
But it's more so I just don't want to, step into it. And that's totally fine. I am a brother. I am not a blood brother, but I am absolutely a brother. And I'd say we all have our own purpose in the band. We all have pushes and pulls, and then I'm kind of a mediator of sorts, but not physical. I don't really step in. It's just my presence kind of offers that. But no, I keep my distance willingly.
So what happens at, you spend all this time on the road, right? You are a family. You're one of the brothers, but then Thanksgiving comes and they all hang out with their family, and you have to go to your family, right? Or do you commingle at the holidays?
Well, our families live right down the road from each other, back home in Michigan.
Yeah.
And then we all live in the same area now. So depending on where our schedules lie, in the past, we always just went home to our families for a couple of days. I see these boys at least, I spend at least a third of the year, and in total, everything with them. So, having a couple of days off is very normal. That's how we grew up doing it. But during the pandemic, we had Thanksgivings together because, we didn't feel comfortable going home to
Sure.
families and grandparents and such. So we just kind of mix it up. We play it by ear.
Who's the best cook in the band?
Oh man, Jake. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's his specialty?
Everything. Jake is a wonderful. He's got that sort of chemist mentality. When Sam's really phenomenal cook too, but Jake is the one that dates back longest to me. In high school, he was whipping up Michelin star meals. It was absolutely insane. Anything from pasta to 3 days making a soup, or it's amazing. Yeah.
Who is the most OCD in the band?
Josh.
Okay.
You like how quick I am with this?
Yes. Yeah. Who's the stinkiest when you get off stage? Who's the one that's the most potent?
Well, I'm the one doing the most work. I don't really. I think that one's actually an even split. I have to say, because I don't naturally sweat that much. It's just I'm doing a lot of work. But I think if you went up to all of our wardrobe cases and took a whiff, I don't think you could tell which one is which. They're all pretty bad.
So what are the rules with stinkiness and on the bus and everything? Is there you have to keep your shoes on? What are the rules?
The rules that there really aren't many rules on the bus. The bus stays pretty clean. We're all very clean people. So we get off stage and we immediately, Sam and Josh are barefoot, and we immediately wash our feet and kind of cleanse. And then we have showers backstage. So we don't really have to coach each other, which is wonderful, because gosh, it could be a whole other story. But I think things are pretty all right.
Your song Heat Above from your sophomore album, so good. It's so good. I know everyone probably has their own favorites. That is my favorite. Talk me through this song. I want to know the story. I want to know the backstory. I want to hear about the creation of this, the recording of it, how it started versus how it ended.
Absolutely. So this one is one of the oldest ones on the album. I think it may even be the oldest one from that. We wrote it, oh man, probably 6 or 7 years prior to the release, or at least started the writing process.
Okay.
We were at their uncle's beach house in Michigan, in Muskegon on the lake, and his uncle had instruments, and back then it was. I mean, it still happens this way, but writing just kind of came out of nowhere. Someone would pick a guitar up and we would play cover songs or whatever around the fire. But then all of a sudden, it would come out of nowhere. And Jake started playing what is the guitar riff and the verses. And immediately Josh started singing. And it was wonderful. And we kind of just started piecing it together. We all jumped on instruments. It came together very quickly. We actually started playing it back then too. you know, we started gathering all these songs for this new album, and our idea was we wanted to create something very cinematic and very expressive, and to really kick off this universe that we're trying to create, in this Greta Van Fleet universe. And it's a very dynamic, potentially deep song. So we kind of revisited it for the first time in years, what was years at the time. And it was really cool. We brought it in, and just like it brought us right back to that moment in Michigan. Finished writing it that day, you know, finishing touches, and then recorded it immediately live, which was really special.
When the band is sitting around jamming, right, and you're working on things, and so it's easy. Oh, a guitar is always probably right there, right?
Oh yeah.
Vocals always are with you, right? For you, do you bring sticks around, or are you more of a I hit on the table type of guy? Like, how do you come into the, hey, we're just sitting around a campfire jamming, right? Are you on your legs?
So if we're performing at a campfire, I'll find a cardboard box or something like that. Or I'll play guitar. Guitar is my first instrument and my first love, and it is way more convenient to bring a guitar around. Like you said, there's almost one everywhere. So when I tour, I always bring one with me, and I feel kind of disconnected if I don't have any sort of stringed instrument with me. But when we're writing, we all have guitars. We all play a few instruments, or piano, or whatnot, and because they're definitely, we all contribute very equally, and that's a really special thing, and that keeps things very interesting. And as far as the dynamic goes.
So if guitar's your first love, do you ever have resentment being shoved up those boxes in the back?
No, not really. At first, I was a little bit torn, but that just stemmed from me not having had any experience with the drums. You know, I'd spent like 8 years playing guitar before I'd even really started focusing on drums. But it was cool because I taught myself drums, and I took guitar lessons, and I took other music lessons, but drums felt like very special and personal to me because I had no experience. And I'm gifted with, you know, like an ear with pitches and anything with notes, but I really had to work for that rhythm aspect of it. And it's like a completely different nature of approaching playing. And it felt very right with the other guys being on drums. I when I first met them, and we first started, or not met them, but when we first started playing with each other, I would play guitar a lot, and it just didn't feel as right. We already had a guitarist, you know, and then they really pushed me. We all push each other, and they have made me the drummer I am today.
Can you read music?
I can read music, yeah.
All right, that's cool. Can the other guys? Or is that like your superhuman trick?
No, it's a very special one. You know, not many people can.
No, you gotta understand. I mean, there are so many people that I interview that cannot read music. And
No,
I mean, I can't, right? But it's like, I mean, I've interviewed everyone from, Mick Fleetwood to Carney Wilson. So many will admit like that they can't read it.
you know, I'll admit I have only had to use it once in my entire professional career,
It's like geometry.
yeah, and it was quite literally on this last album we were writing string parts, and like the only way to actually communicate to the string players who are professionals is via written music. So like Sam and I really had to dust that off. Yes, we know how, but we had to really kind of focus and take a second and go, all right, so we have to communicate to these people how to play, you know, the way that we are envisioning it. So yeah, so we have used it. You know, it does come in handy, but at the same time, I don't think you need it.
Robert Plant said that Greta Van Fleet is Led Zeppelin. What do you think of that?
Well, that's quite the statement considering it came from Led Zeppelin. You know, it's cool. We've gotten that our entire lives, and every time we hear it, it's humbling. It's a compliment. I think Led Zeppelin is a live band, and they have created a universe, and they have, you know, done prolific things for rock and roll in general. And I think it's one of the highest honors. And we've always felt that way. Yes, we hear it a lot. But to hear it from someone like that is definitely something special. So
Hanson said Greta Van Fleet is Hanson. No, I'm just joking. Wouldn't you be like, what? How
that's a
dare you?
whole other story. I don't think we have enough time for that one.
You are so into bop. You are.
How'd you know?
How do you push yourself at this point? You've had so many great accolades and success stories. How do you keep the drive going?
You know, we just enjoy what we do, and we don't we don't consider ourselves the best musicians ever. You know, we just kind of keep pushing each other, and we're constantly trying to get better. And we're it's borderline insecurity, but it, you know, it kind of helps us. We that fire will never go out between ourselves, because we know we have so much that we can still learn and gain from continuing this career, and getting better is one of our favorite things to do. So I think the drive will always be there between ourselves.
That sophomore album came out in 2021. Here we are in the middle of 2022. Is there a smell of new music coming our way?
There may be. Actually, yes, there is. We've been working for the majority of this year, and we're almost there with it. You know, it just takes a second to get it out, but you can expect some stuff sooner than you think.
Fantastic. Well, Danny Wagner of Greta Van Fleet, the band is out on tour right now. Tickets are available. You can also catch them at Bourbon and Beyond, which sounds delicious and sounds wonderful. Good music. Thank you for spending time with me today.
My God, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hey there, thanks for watching AXS TV. Subscribe, follow, like, and do all the good stuff. And make sure you leave a comment below. I don't know, just let us know what your favorite AXS TV show is, or who your favorite bands are, and what artists you're into, or just say hi, man. I'd like to be told hi. We love hearing from you. That's the point, all right? Keep it coming.